put her into one. Hello, Lenny. My name's Morgan. I'm one of the doctors.
There are over 63,000 junior doctors working in Britain's hospitals.
You squeeze my hand if you understand what I've said.
As young as 23, they are the foot soldiers of the NHS.
And how are your bowels and waterworks? Yeah, it is not glamorous. It is not glamorous.
Hey, baby. Hey.
They'll welcome us into the world.
Aww, awesome.
Do we have a pulse? No. No.
They will be there at the end.
Just stop.
Cardiac arrest on Findon ward.
Emergency.
Oh, all right, don't worry.
But they are working in hospitals that are treating more patients than ever before.
We are utterly, utterly full.
We've got just no room, no beds, no space.
Everything is stretched. We haven't got a lot more to give, and something needs to change.
These doctors have become a symbol of the state of the NHS.
We are doing our best. We are working our hardest, but it's just not enough.
Filmed in one regional hospital at the height of the junior doctor crisis. This series is about the young doctors who are the future of our health service.
To survive as a junior doctor, you must have courage. Courage to cope with what we see day in, day out. Courage to deal with people at the very worst moments of their lives. And courage to work in a system that can't cope with the pressure it's under. There is one date that sticks in the mind of every junior doctor, and that's the first Wednesday in August.
Are you here for induction?
Yes. That date is when they begin to work in hospital for the very first time. You can ask any doctor in the NHS, and they will tell you that that is the most important day in their professional lives.
With a cheesy grin.
In August 2016, around 6,000 medical graduates are beginning their careers across the country.
I just have butterflies in my stomach because it's just the unknown, isn't it?
Obviously, it goes without saying that I'm petrified of letting my patients down.
30 are registered to Northampton General. Their induction is led by Dr. Philip Pearson.
It's my job to welcome them, but also to warn them what's ahead. The NHS at the moment is running very, very close to the edge, and the junior doctors are the ones very much in the front line. My fear is it will be harder for them than any other generation previously. Welcome to Northampton, and for that matter, welcome to medicine, doctors. It will be hard work, it will be stressful, you will be taxed physically, emotionally, mentally in the next 12 months, more than you ever thought possible. You will have patients dying in front of you. There will be times when all you want to do is just burst into tears. There will be times when you go home dancing, punching the air because of things that have happened. There are plenty of good times, and there are always people to help you. Thank you for your time. It's been a long day, but welcome to medicine.
There are hundreds of general hospitals like Northampton across the UK. They're the backbone of the NHS, providing care to millions every day.
This is Northampton's hospital. Most people who work here live here. Most of the people we treat are our neighbours. There's a lot of pride in the place. It does a fabulous job with limited resource. But we're not much different from anywhere else. We've got ever-increasing number of patients coming through the front door, but we haven't got an increase in the number of staff to provide that care. We haven't got an increase in the number of beds to provide that care, and we haven't got any more money.
Each new doctor has been assigned to a hospital ward, working in a full medical team for the first time.
Okay, sharp scratch. Sorry.
Ow!
Take that out. I'm really sorry. I'll ask one of the other doctors to help me. Are you all right?
You're shitting it. Like, it's terrifying.
You don't want to come across as the nervous doctor who doesn't know what they're doing and who makes loads of mistakes and nobody trusts them.
Did you say it was yesterday?
They look like they're the, what's that saying? Rabbits caught in headlights, is it? That's exactly what it is, I think.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know what to do then.
Yeah, no problem.
Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
Okay.
For 28-year-old Holly, it's been a long journey to get to this day.
And I'm worried about forgetting everything. And
when I found out that I'd qualified, I was just shocked. I was just shocked because when I was 15, one of my teachers told me that I'd never be a doctor because I wasn't clever enough and I had no drive. It left me with no confidence.
Can I feel your pulse?
I've had quite a lot of jobs to get here. I've been a healthcare assistant, been a pub manager for a while, did a bit of security work.
It hasn't been straightforward. It hasn't been easy.
Can I put your mouth for me a minute, Robert? Sorry, darling.
On Holly's first day, she's working with a consultant and nurses on the emergency assessment unit, where acutely ill patients are sent from A&E.
All right, don't worry.
At midday, the consultant is briefly called away, and Holly is left as the only doctor covering the ward.
I think everybody's biggest fear on their first day is causing serious harm or killing a patient, which is very difficult to do, apparently. Hopefully.
But within minutes, one patient has started to deteriorate.
What paracetamol has he had?
He's had 1 gram IV, but he won't be due anymore now until 4.
There is a gentleman with pneumonia, and despite being given treatment and antibiotics, they haven't been successful. So at the moment, we're trying to explore different treatment programs for him, but he is acutely unwell. I'm quite worried about him at the moment.
3 hours into her career, Holly has a patient's life hanging in the balance.
My name's Holly. I'm one of the doctors on the ward at the moment. And the consultant that came to see you earlier this morning would like you to have a tube put down. It's one that we pop through your nose, down into your stomach, so that we can help with things like your pain. You squeeze my hand if you understand what I've said.
When you first see somebody very sick, all of a sudden you realise the pressure of the position that you're in. You know, it sounds rather dramatic, but you hold their life in your hands, and all of a sudden that hits you. And you realise that all that training, all that you were taught, this is what, it's for this moment.
Holly needs to insert a nasal tube that can supply life-saving antibiotics.
I just wanted to double check. When you measure an NG, it's just down to the zippy.
An on-call team is there to provide support.
Are you going to put the NG yourself?
Yeah. Would that be okay? I've had training and everything.
Well, if you've had the training, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
When it's your first few days as a doctor and the unexpected happens, that's when the self-doubt creeps in. Someone once said I couldn't do this. Am I about to prove them right?
If at all this is uncomfortable, just squeeze my hand and Holly will stop, okay? Is it him?
Yeah.
Holly inserts the tube perfectly, but won't know until tomorrow if the antibiotics have worked.
You do feel like you're on edge. Either this patient will pick up and improve and then go home, or they'll take a turn for the worse. And it is a waiting game.
There are 210 junior doctors in Northampton.
You all right to tell me what's brought you into hospital today?
To sort out this head of mine.
Alongside caring for patients, there's a continuous program of training.
When you're the person that makes that diagnosis and starts the treatment, when you've saved someone's life, it stays with you forever.
And as their careers progress, they take on ever more responsibility.
My name's Emily, I'm one of the oncology doctors. I understand that you've been diagnosed with breast cancer. So do you want to tell me what's brought you into hospital at the moment?
26-year-old Emily has just started on the cancer ward. As a third year, this is her first chance to specialise her training.
Gonna have a little look at you if that's all right. I really don't know why I wanted to be a doctor. I just know that I always wanted to be one, and I think it was because my mum was one and she was such an amazing role model. And I think I just saw the difference that she made. A couple of years ago, she went for a normal mammogram and she was diagnosed with breast cancer 3 days before my medical finals. White cell count is up. She did have to have a big operation. She did retire early from work. But it really made me realise that being a doctor, as much as it's about the medicine and the medical decisions, actually in situations like that, it's about the person as a whole, but also about their family as well.
Emily's mum made a full recovery, but the experience has led her to choose end-of-life care as a speciality.
People just seem to wonder why I want to work in palliative care. I think a lot of people just don't see the benefit in it, and maybe those people haven't had family members die or had bad experiences, and maybe they think that every death is the same. But I would argue that it's definitely not, and there is a huge amount that you can do.
Emily's ward treats people with complicated or terminal cancers. One patient, Tracy, used to work in the hospital.
I still think we're not out of the woods just yet. Chest X-ray is a little bit worse. So it's a little bit of a knife edge that you're balancing on at the moment.
Tracy's got lung cancer, but unfortunately now it's spread to other parts of her body.
I am very slightly aware as well that the liver lesions will probably be getting bigger whilst you're off your chemotherapy. Yeah.
She has got a lovely family who are really involved. The kids have been telling Wayne, her husband, that he needs to go home and have some rest as well. But yeah, the next few days are quite important.
God bless. Guys. See you later on. Is that right? Okay. I'll catch you.
Like Emily's mum, Tracy's cancer came completely out of the blue.
Do you remember when he told us? We kind of started laughing because it was a bit of disbelief, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't really, because I've never smoked, so I didn't really believe it at the time. But I'm going into my third year, and I'm happy. And I've had a fantastic 2.5 years doing stuff I wouldn't have done if this didn't happen. So I've been lucky.
Yeah, but I'd still give that all up.
I know. I know.
For you not to be going through all of this.
I know.
To be a good doctor, you have to care, because I think when you stop caring, then that's when you become a bad doctor. But I think the worries for me are just that it's quite emotionally demanding and emotionally draining, and it is well recognised that people do burn out. I think working in oncology will definitely help me see whether it is something that I can do every day, or whether I think it would be too much for me.
Back on the assessment unit, Holly's patient has continued to deteriorate.
I think the most difficult thing when you start as a new doctor is understanding or realising that you're not going to be able to help everybody. There are some patients where whatever you do, they're not going to improve. And as a junior, that's very difficult to get your head round.
We've been giving him a lot of antibiotics and we're still struggling to keep him comfortable. This is my second day and I already feel like I know him so well.
Later that week, the man dies from his infection. He's Holly's first ever patient.
You just for that moment think, was there anything I could have done? You're there to relieve pain, relieve suffering, make patients better. But death is a consequence of life. It is a privilege to be a doctor, it really is. You get invited into these patients' lives and you see them at their absolute worst. I just hope for that patient that he was as comfortable as possible.
Northampton General is serving a growing population. But they've had no increase in doctors in training for the last 15 years.
And I just want to take one more blood test, I'm afraid.
Like many NHS hospitals, it operates at near full capacity most of the time.
At the moment, we are dealing with the problems of increasing patients coming into hospital who are generally sicker, they're often older, they have more complex problems, and therefore they're going to stay in hospital longer.
Can you take some deep breaths in and out for me?
So all staff, whether they're junior or senior, are under significant pressure to see 20–25% more patients than they would a couple of years ago.
OK, thank you so much, thank you. Right.
Everything is stretched. This is the worst I've ever seen it in 36 years. Morale is not great because it's so difficult to deliver the standard of care they're capable of.
Hi, my name's Sam Pollen. I'm a second-year doctor, and at the moment I'm thinking about leaving the NHS for good.
Sam is 24 and working on the gastro ward, dealing with bowel and stomach problems, and a lot of elderly patients.
We're over halfway.
Do you know which hospital we're in at the moment?
Bedford. Northampton General Hospital.
Yes, there you go. You know where you are. Hello, it's Sam, one of the doctors. How are you getting on today, Joyce?
Yes, I'm all right.
You feel okay?
Yes.
Okay. And how are your bowels and waterworks? Yeah, it is not glamorous. It's not glamorous. I leave work most days covered in either poo, blood, vomit, or a combination of the three. Hello, Miss Harrison. All right, now this is just a little bit of local anaesthetic. I worked my arse off in school to get into med school. I worked my arse off in med school to get where I am now. Sorry, it's quite uncomfortable, I know. And then you come out into the real world and you're trying to put all of that knowledge and idealism to use in a system that is slowly breaking down, in a system that's overstretched and underfunded, and it is kind of demoralising. It kind of sours a lot of what you've worked so hard for all these years.
Sam's ward has a staff shortage, and today he's looking after double the number of beds he should be. 20-year-old Ryan has had numerous hospital visits and lost half his body weight, but no doctor has been able to diagnose his condition.
I may have been in and out of here 17 times this year. I was originally 8 stone, and now I'm down to 4 stone 2. And I just look like a malnourished 13-year-old, and it's horrible.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Ryan. Can I examine you? Is that okay? You just relax for me, put your hands. So we see patients like Ryan a lot who come into hospital very frequently. What they need from us as doctors is our time. It's a bit of a mystery at the moment, but bear with us and we'll figure out what's wrong, okay?
Cheers, Sam.
All right, I'll see you shortly. But you physically don't have the time to sit with a patient for 20 minutes and listen to them because I've got 50 other patients I have to see by lunchtime. And that's what frustrates me about medicine today, is that we physically don't have the opportunity to give the level of care that I've been trained to offer and that I want to offer and that I should be giving to my patients. And you feel guilty about it. You feel guilty a lot of the time, a lot of the time.
The number of junior doctors leaving the NHS is rising. In some hospitals, it's now a daily challenge to have enough juniors on the wards.
Hello, how's it going? I hear you're plugging a gap a bit, really, here at the moment, because Hannah's off.
Lindsay Braun is responsible for Northampton's medical rota.
At the moment, out of 65 junior doctors, we have 10 gaps as of today. Next week, that's going to be more, because 2 people are leaving, so it'll be 12. Hi, I'm just going around wards where I know you're one down to see how it's going on. There are days where you don't know how you're going to ensure that each ward has sufficient doctors providing safe enough care. And that is a very knife-edge situation.
Last year, almost a third of junior doctors left the NHS after only 2 years.
Is this your first day on this ward?
Not before.
The gap was largely filled by foreign doctors.
Good.
Yeah, everyone is quite helpful in pointing me where to go, so yeah, it's quite good.
There's no way the NHS would survive without overseas doctors. There's no way. Good. And how are you getting on?
Okay.
Most of the adverts that we put out for doctors that we need will be overseas, and hence a lot of the interviews will be Skype interviews. Sometimes we have people that have not done very much, and it's a bit of a gamble, but you have to assess that at interview as to whether you feel they are experienced enough for you to supervise here. Each year gets more and more difficult, and it feels as though we are on the edge of things cracking up. No doubt about that.
It's Holly's third week at the hospital. One morning with A&E already busy, 2 of her team failed to turn up.
We should have started ward round by now, but I've just been told that there's been a bit of confusion with the consultant's rota. So there's actually no consultant around at the moment, and it just means that we can't really get the ball rolling with our day until we get a consultant to come in and review people.
Without a consultant review, nobody can be admitted or discharged from Holly's ward. The department grinds to a halt as people continue to arrive into A&E.
A&E currently has approximately 70 patients in it.
The problem is there's quite a few in A&E at the moment, but I don't know what else I can do because, as I say, I've got nobody imminent going home.
This ward is full, and we've been told that the hospital is full to capacity now. So there's no beds on any wards.
At the moment, the emergency admission system is running at its absolute limit. It's stretched to the point where if one key person doesn't turn up for whatever reason, then the whole thing can just fall apart. It's like a row of dominoes. One person comes out, the whole thing just collapses because the flow stops. You get a blockage, and it backs right the way up to the front door. It just becomes impossible.
Within 2 hours, the hospital's on red alert as numbers in A&E have doubled.
So, Dr. Milanovic, can I just check you're happy with the plan? So we need to chase the CT heads.
Whenever a hospital is on alert, all wards are under pressure to discharge patients.
Okay, it can be go.
For Emily, this happens on a day her team is down 3 nurses.
Hello. Do you have any problem now at this moment?
It's pain.
Okay, we will check for your painkiller. Do you have any other question for us?
It's just a little bit stressful because the consultant wants the ward round to speed up.
See you. Bye.
However, the problem is when you try to see them quickly, it means that the patients become dissatisfied, which is understandable, and you can miss things that you would have picked up if you'd have spent that time. All right. We'll see you tomorrow morning, okay?
Cheers.
He is the sort of patient, if we just walk in and walk out, he will kick off for the rest of the day. If we don't explain that to him, his anxiety, his depression, and he'll be suicidal again, and I'll have to phone the acute. I don't normally have long conversations unless I need to have them.
What is the next patient?
Tracy Simpson, room 6. I've not checked her bloods yet because I haven't had a chance. It's room... Do you mind helping me, Saeed, grabbing the notes and things? Because Dr. Milanovic wants to speed up, but I can't do it all by myself. Hello. Feeling a little bit dizzy.
I think she's struggling to breathe.
Yeah. OK. And you're feeling short of breath sat there now? So we'll carry on with the nebulizers. I'm going to ask for a chest X-ray just to make sure there's nothing new going on. Is that all right? OK, we'll see you later. It sounds like she's not so good today. And I want to look into that a little bit more. But no, it is difficult to feel like you're doing your best when you're so busy. Hello, can I help?
By the afternoon, the staff shortage catches up with the ward.
It's not that she's ignoring it, she's trying to sort it out.
25-year-old Rachel has been waiting 4 hours to see a specialist nurse.
I have a patient sitting here for a pump change.
and I can't do everything. It's too much.
I mean, we were supposed to be here for half an hour today. Rachel has stage 4 throat cancer. They've told her that she has a 30 to 40% chance of survival. And how can this happen? How can this be?
It's just really stressful because we've just not had enough doctors or nurses. You can put up with anything when it's a few hours or a few days, but when it's a permanent thing that there's never enough staff and you're always running at 110%, you can't keep it up. This ward has broken me. It has broken me. This job's broken me.
On the assessment unit, Lindsay Braun has stepped in to do the consultant ward round.
And see if we can get you home as soon as possible then.
But Holly's day is about to get even busier.
Cardiac arrest on Findon ward. Cardiac arrest on Findon ward. Thank you.
Findon? No, not really. So I've had a cardiac arrest on one of the wards, and I'm part of the arrest team today. So we just need to get there and find out what's happened.
Do we have a pulse? No, no. We lost the pulse.
In the next door ward, an elderly patient's heart has stopped. Holly and her team have only minutes to save a life.
Yeah, started. Just up. Went into cardiac arrest. We started treatment, and then it got to the point where we'd dealt with everything and she was still developing rhythms that are untreatable, really. So the med reg made the decision and then checked with the team that we were happy to stop. So that was the decision that was made.
But in the brief time she's off her ward, another patient has died.
The lady in 114 just passed away.
OK.
When things get really hectic and the wards are very busy, you have to become almost like a machine. Emotion just doesn't come into it. If you've got time to sit and worry about how you feel, you've got more time on your hands than you thought.
Thank you. Thank you.
By the end of her shift, Holly is just beginning the discharge paperwork.
It's 4:25 and I've not had lunch. I'm meant to finish in 35 minutes. That's not going to happen. I actually feel at the moment like I look really incompetent. So like this discharge has probably taken me about an hour, when actually if I just sat down with no distractions, it would have been less than 10 minutes. It's just that fear of I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want people to think I am incompetent, because I'm not. At times, the NHS is on its knees. And it is becoming more and more evident to me exactly how stretched all of our services are. One of the big things for me was that I didn't want to get to the point where I forgot the patient, and today I couldn't tell you a single thing about any of my patients. If you line them all up in front of me now, I couldn't tell you any of their names because I've been too rushed today. I was expecting it, just not on the level of today. Today's been hectic.
At the beginning of September, the hospital is quiet.
Today we've got a full complement of doctors on the ward, which means we're each looking after one bay, which means I have actual time to spend with my patients. So yeah, today should be a good day.
Sam's team have spent the last week trying to solve the problem of Ryan's weight loss, but with little success.
The Ryan conundrum continues. It's quite a complex case, and all of the things I would have tested for, we've tested for, and they've come back normal. So I'm at a loss at the moment. He's a young guy, he's got a life to live. It must be difficult for him. Hi Ryan, you okay? We've got an office for you down there if you want to come with me, we can sit and have a chat for a bit. I've got a bit of time now, so we can
Yeah, I know, you struck for time yesterday.
So, go ahead, you wanted to have a chat?
Yeah, well, how can I say, being on that ward is making me really upset. Like, I'm young, I shouldn't be here. But I don't want to leave here until I hit my proper weight, because I know I'm going to go back downhill.
OK. I don't think we're planning on kicking you out rapidly anytime soon.
Yeah, not only that, I think it's just because the withdrawal from the cannabis, that's the main thing I was going to speak to you about today. I won't lie to you, I am a high cannabis user, which I'm trying to cut out. And I know for a fact, if I go back next week, I'll end up smoking the cannabis again. I can already see.
How often would you say you smoke cannabis?
Every day.
OK. It's good that you've brought that up, because that means I can speak to the team and we can make sure everybody's in the loop and that can be sorted from our side.
I just really needed to have a word.
All right.
Cheers,
Wonderful,
son.
thanks.
Cheers, son.
Cheers. So I've got Ryan's old notes here. Lifestyle factors are often important in what causes people's symptoms, and illicit drug use is one that is often very important, but doctors are very shy to ask about. And cannabis, which a lot of people consider an appetite stimulant, in long-term use is actually an appetite suppressant. So if all this coincides with his use of cannabis, then we may be onto something.
On ward round the next day, Sam can test his theory with Ryan's consultant.
So I had a chat with Ryan yesterday, just trying to figure out a bit more about him and his lifestyle. And he said that he does smoke quite a large amount of cannabis and has been for a while.
I'm really surprised. I didn't get that from him before.
No?
That's really good. Well done. That's quite important.
For you.
Okay. Hello, Ryan. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Great. So why do you think you've got better here when you weren't getting better at home? Any idea? Because cannabis suppresses appetite. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Are you going to carry on with the cannabis?
No.
So are you worried that when you go home you'll start using cannabis again?
It's the only thing that gets me through the day.
Really? And have you been very depressed at home?
Well, I was before I come in. All I'd do is wake up, go get a smoke, have some probably packet of crisps that'll last me for about 2-3 days, and then I'll just sleep all day.
That's not much of a life.
No, I know.
It's a vicious circle, isn't it? You take the cannabis, you don't eat, you get more tired, you end up skin and bones.
Sometimes it's not the advice that you give someone that solves the problem, it's the opportunity to be listened to that solves the problem. And I think nobody's really had the time to have these discussions with him.
I'm sorry that it took us a while to get to this.
Well, I should have said about this sooner, I know.
That day, Ryan's medication is changed and the drugs counsellor called in.
I'm calling as I have a patient I'd like to refer to yourselves for review as an inpatient, if possible. You go through so much of the job feeling like you haven't lived up to what's expected of you, that when you actually do something that's spot on, it's just really satisfying.
Cheers, Dr. Judy.
It reminds you of why you're here and why you put all the work in and why you sacrifice so much to carry on being a doctor because of those moments.
On the cancer ward, Emily's team has just received Tracy's latest test results.
It's not a good sign.
Tracy is really poorly at the moment, so seeing that the x-ray's worse, I suppose, isn't surprising, but it just confirms that perhaps things aren't going in the right direction.
After years of treatment, Tracy's body has finally given up the fight.
So for me, this is one of the things that it's all about, because the way that this whole situation is handled now will massively, massively affect that family for the rest of their lives. I mean, if Tracy's in pain or distressed and there's more trauma heaped on top, then that will stay with the family forever, as well as the grief, and I think it makes the grief much more difficult to process. It really shows whether you're a good doctor or not as to how you handle those situations. How are you feeling, Tracy? I just wanted to catch up with you and see how you're doing. You're shattered. How does your breathing feel? Do you think the oromorphs helped a bit? No. You think it's just knocked you out a bit? OK. I've had a look at some of the bloods that have come back. So, unfortunately, despite the antibiotics, some of the bloods are looking a little bit worse.
OK.
We are possibly entering that zone if the platelets drop any lower tomorrow, that we might not be able to carry on with the blood thinner. But I think it is just a little bit concerning that things don't seem to be going quite in the direction we wanted to.
Not anymore, anyway.
Did you have any questions for me? No? OK. All right.
Yep.
OK. All right, I'll leave you in peace, Tracy, OK?
Thanks so much, cheers. Thanks.
All right. It's very difficult to get the balance right when you're having that sort of conversation, to give people the information you need to give. But I think I managed to broach the subject and plant the seed, but it's just a very sad situation. You can really clearly see the love between them, and so I think it's obviously going to be incredibly difficult for them.
For all juniors, life as a doctor is 24/7.
OK, baby, you want to open your eyes for me?
Hospitals never close, and day shifts are mixed with nights.
I'm convinced I did the wrong thing, so to hear...
You didn't, because she was expecting us to check.
Consultants are there for juniors when things get too much.
And you did it in a balanced way, which I think was very good.
But in the emergency department, Holly's team is still battling staff shortages.
So I'm currently on day 9 of a 10-day straight. At the moment, I know that there's a lot of gaps on the rota, and I don't mind helping out where I can and filling in those gaps, but there's only so much that we can work. And the tireder you get, the more challenging it becomes.
In her first month, Holly has treated over 300 patients, certified almost a dozen deaths, and like many NHS staff, hasn't once left work on time.
My partner makes a big joke because Jeremy Hunt said there's no reason why doctors shouldn't be leaving at 5 o'clock. And so when I rock in at 8:30, my partner wants to know what my excuse is, because my boss, Jeremy Hunt, says I should leave at 5 o'clock. If we worked a rule and we started at the time we're supposed to start and finished when we're supposed to finish, the NHS just would be non-existent. I would say a large proportion of it runs on goodwill, the goodwill of the staff.
So sharp scratch coming up.
The reason that we don't stop is because we care about patients and we put them first.
Is that OK?
Yeah, fine.
Why would you be a doctor or a nurse or work anywhere in the NHS if you didn't care about people?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'll probably get sacked.
For all of the stress and pressure that I have felt under, I am still enjoying being a doctor. But there have been days where I have thought twice.
Being a physician is the best and most brilliant job in the world. There's just far too much of it. You know, we can't just keep expanding the number of hours we work and keep a smile on our face and keep doing it perfectly. You can't do that. We are reaching our capacity. We haven't got a lot more to give, and something needs to change.
By the end of September, junior doctors have been in post for 2 months. Every day has seen new patients arrive and depart from their care.
So unfortunately, Tracy passed away on Friday. I last saw her on Thursday night or the early hours of Friday morning as I was doing a night shift. And it was becoming more obvious that she was becoming much more unwell and that she was dying. And Tracy said that her last wish really was that she wanted to pass away at home. And I'm just so glad that she managed to get there, even if it was just for a few hours.
On the 23rd of September, Emily's colleagues were able to fast-track Tracy home, where she passed away, surrounded by her family.
Patients like Tracy, it completely reinforces why I want to do palliative care. She died where she wanted to die. Her pain was under control. I think she died with dignity. So as far as I know, I would say that she had a good death. Of course it affects me, and I've cried at work, I've cried a few times, but you do just have to learn to be able to deal with that and pick yourself up and go back out there, because as sad as it is, there's always another patient that you need to go and see, and so we just have to carry on.
My name is Milanovic, I'm consultant here. And I came here to see you and to ask you how are you.
Could be better, but could be worse.
Okay.
I couldn't do this job for the rest of my life. It's too much. But I do want to stay in the NHS and hopefully climb the ladder and become a consultant. There's no other job that I can see myself doing, because for me it's about making a difference and caring for patients, and there's no other job where I think I could use the skills that I've got and make that difference in patients' lives. I'll see you later on, okay?
Across on the gastro ward, Sam's success with Ryan has made him reflect on his own career.
I feel like this is what I came here to do, and I am doing it well. It's a confidence that, oh, actually, I am a good doctor.
Since coming under Sam's care, Ryan's gained 6 kilos and is now ready to go home.
Hi, Ryan. So you're off today, aren't you?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, how are you feeling about that?
Happy.
It's been really nice meeting you, but I hope we never see you again.
Well, I'd like to see you again, but not here.
Not in a professional capacity. All right. Nice to meet you, Ryan. Good luck, okay?
Cheers.
See you later.
You. Come on, then. Try and behave yourself.
I want to stay as a doctor in the NHS. This is my whole life. This is everything I have trained for since I did my GCSEs. This is, I pour all of my effort and all of my time and all of my energy into caring for the people that are in this hospital. If you keep your head still for me, look forward, there you go. But I have no idea what my future holds because I have no idea what's happening with the NHS. No degree of efficiency savings or strategic cuts is going to solve the problem that there are too many patients and not enough people treating.
4 weeks after discharging Ryan, Sam chooses not to apply for further NHS training.
I want what anybody wants. I want to be able to do the job that I'm trained to do. I want to be respected. Ryan. And I want to be happy. So I've decided to take a year out to decide whether I want to stay in the UK and pursue my training here, or do I want to go to Australia, New Zealand, somewhere abroad to pursue my training out there.
Sam is one of 6,000 junior doctors who applied to work overseas in 2016.
We have a whole generation of the most dedicated and compassionate people I've met, doctors, nurses, everyone who works in the NHS, who are completely disillusioned by a career that they've worked so hard for. I think we're seeing a slow, painful collapse of an institution that we should all be grateful for. And it's a shame. That's the most accurate word for it, is that it is a crying shame.
On the emergency assessment unit, Holly's now been a doctor for 2 months.
Just lift this up for you, sweetheart. That's it.
From day one till now, I think my confidence has increased and continues to increase exponentially. On the acute wards, there's no time to stop and look things up, check a textbook, wait for a consultant to arrive. The patients are so sick that you need to make the decisions quickly and in a confident way.
All right, Rob, let's pop it back on.
13 years after her teacher said it would never happen, Holly's firmly established as a hospital doctor.
If you want something badly enough, it doesn't matter what background you've got, what money you've got, it is your drive and ambition and determination that will get you there. And I still have as much passion now as I did when I was 15.
Just take some deep breaths for me.
But there are times when we feel that we can't do any more than we already are, and there's still patients waiting. I'm right at the start of my career, and I'm worried about what the future holds. I think if nothing changes, there just won't be an NHS. I can't see at its current functioning level that it can continue. But I still love my job. I love everything that I do, and I couldn't imagine being anything else.
It's for you. You're going home.
Next time, the onset of winter creates a surge of patients in A&E.
Check me the oxygen.
We're in a very difficult position here.
It's mental.
And new recruits must adjust to life
You're panicking.
in the hospital's busiest department.
I'm beginning to question why the hell I'm doing this and if I'm even good enough.